The situation in Eastern Europe continues to dominate military attention. Ukraine has launched a coordinated series of precision strikes against key Russian logistics hubs near Belgorod and Bryansk. Satellite images confirm significant damage to railway junctions used for resupplying Russian frontline units. This follows a month-long campaign by Ukraine's drone and missile forces to cripple Russia's supply network before the onset of winter. Analysts suggest that Ukraine's new long-range drone systems, supplied with Western software upgrades, are now capable of striking targets over 1,000 kilometers away. These attacks mark a new phase of warfare, one where drones and AI-guided systems define the pace of conflict more than ground troops. Meanwhile, Russia has intensified its use of electronic warfare systems to counter Ukraine's growing drone fleet. Reports indicate that the Krasokha 4 and Murmansk-BN systems are being redeployed closer to the border regions to jam Ukrainian reconnaissance. Despite this, Ukrainian drones have continued to penetrate Russian airspace, raising questions about the effectiveness of Russia's countermeasures. Western analysts are calling it a sign that Ukraine's drone technology has evolved faster than expected, outpacing Russian adaptation. The psychological impact is also being felt across Russian-held areas, where reports of explosions hundreds of kilometers from the front lines are causing unrest and uncertainty. Inside Ukraine, the armed forces are restructuring several of their brigades with advanced Western equipment, including upgraded Leopard tanks and the latest versions of HIMARS systems. Military insiders say the new hardware integration is meant to prepare for a potential winter counteroffensive if targeting the southern front. The introduction of hybrid logistics combining Western vehicles with locally modified systems has significantly improved Ukrainian mobility and repair speed. This is part of a broader NATO-backed initiative to make Ukraine's military infrastructure more self-sufficient in the long run. On the Russian side, reports have surfaced of internal military reshuffles. Several regional commanders have reportedly been replaced following what Moscow calls logistical inefficiencies in maintaining supply routes. Independent observers believe the real reason is poor battlefield performance and the inability to protect key assets from Ukrainian strikes. In addition, Russia has begun deploying more conscripts along the second line of defense, while reserving professional troops for rapid response. This move suggests the Kremlin is preparing for a drawn-out conflict that could stretch deep into 2026. In the Middle East, the situation remains volatile. U.S. intelligence sources have confirmed a new wave of Iranian drone shipments to proxy groups operating in Syria and Iraq. These drones are believed to be variants of the Shad series, modified for extended range and payload. This escalation has prompted Israel to increase its air patrols and strengthen missile defense systems near its northern border. Just yesterday, Israeli defense officials confirmed intercepting multiple drones heading toward the Golan Heights, marking one of the most intense aerial interception days this month. The U.S. has also repositioned its naval assets in the eastern Mediterranean to deter further escalation. Meanwhile, Turkey has stepped up its drone surveillance operations across northern Syria, closely monitoring Kurdish positions. Ankara's growing drone production industry, particularly the Bayraktar Akincey series, continues to attract attention from international buyers. Turkey's defense exports have risen by 22% this quarter alone, with multiple countries in Africa and Asia seeking to purchase domestically produced UAV. This surge reflects how drone warfare has transformed into one of the most competitive defense industries of our time, shaping military strategy even in non-combat nations. Over in the South China Sea, tensions between China and the Philippines have escalated once again. A recent standoff occurred near the Second Thomas Shoal when a Chinese Coast Guard vessel blocked a Philippine resupply ship, resulting in minor collisions and damage. The Philippine government has condemned the act as deliberate aggression and called for international support. The U.S. Navy, operating nearby, dispatched a destroyer to monitor the situation. China continues to assert its claim over the region, reinforcing its artificial islands with radar systems, missile platforms, and new airstrips. Western intelligence agencies report that Chinese warplanes have increased their patrol frequency, maintaining a near-constant presence over disputed waters. Japan has also made headlines today, confirming its decision to double its missile stockpile by 2027. Tokyo's defense ministry cited growing regional instability and the need to counter both North Korean missile threats and Chinese maritime expansion. The government has announced joint missile development projects with the United States and the United Kingdom, focusing on long-range cruise missile capabilities. This marks one of Japan's most significant defense shifts since World War II, signaling a more assertive stance in regional security matters. In the Pacific, the United States has been conducting joint naval exercises with Australia, Japan, and South Korea under Operation Pacific Resolve. The exercises focus on coordinated anti-submarine tactics and rapid response to maritime threats. U.S. Naval Command states that these drills are a direct response to increasing Chinese submarine activity detected in international waters. At the same time, U.S. defense contractors have begun testing new underwater drone systems designed for long-endurance surveillance, part of a strategy to extend control of undersea domains. Back in Europe, NATO is undergoing significant modernization efforts. The alliance is accelerating its AI integration program for battlefield coordination and real-time decision-making. The goal is to allow joint task forces to respond within seconds to potential threats. AI-powered logistics, predictive maintenance, and automated battlefield mapping are now being tested in exercises across Poland and Germany. NATO officials say this new approach will create a faster, leaner, and more autonomous response system capable of countering large-scale hybrid warfare. In Germany, defense industries are expanding production lines to meet NATO's ammunition demand. The Rheinmetall company recently announced record contracts for artillery shells and armored vehicle components. Similar trends are seen across Europe as governments race to rebuild stockpiles depleted by ongoing military aid to Ukraine. France and Italy have joined efforts to co-produce advanced air defense missiles, while the UK has unveiled a new rapid manufacturing model to produce drones at scale. This industrial surge shows how deeply the conflict in Ukraine has reshaped European defense priorities, leading to what many analysts call a new rearmament era. In Africa, several nations are also adapting to the global shift in defense dynamics. Nigeria and Egypt have both signed deals to acquire advanced air defense systems, reflecting a trend toward self-reliance in security. The African Union is reportedly working on a continental defense initiative aimed at improving intelligence sharing and counterterrorism coordination. Experts see this as an attempt to reduce dependency on Western intervention and create a more unified African defense identity. Turning to South America, Brazil has launched its first domestically produced missile frigate, a major step in its ongoing naval modernization plan. The new warship features hybrid propulsion and AI-assisted navigation systems, reflecting the global move towards smarter, more efficient defense technologies. Argentina and Chile have also been discussing joint maritime patrol agreements to secure southern trade routes and counter illegal fishing operations that have surged in recent years. Meanwhile, in the United States, defense policy debates are heating up ahead of the 2026 budget. Lawmakers are discussing increased funding for cyber defense and space warfare programs. The U.S. Space Force recently confirmed the successful deployment of new early warning satellites capable of detecting hypersonic missile launches in real time. These systems represent a major step in maintaining global deterrence capabilities against emerging threats. Pentagon officials emphasize that space will be the next major arena of military competition, requiring both defensive and offensive readiness. Cyber warfare remains one of the fastest-growing concerns. A new report from cybersecurity analysts reveals that state-sponsored hacking incidents have doubled since early 2024. Many of these attacks target military communication networks and satellite systems. Countries are responding by building dedicated cyber command units and investing heavily in artificial intelligence to predict and neutralize attacks before they occur. The rise of AI-driven cyber defense shows how traditional battlefield strategies are merging with digital warfare. In another important development, Global peacekeeping missions are undergoing transformation. The United Nations has approved an initiative to integrate autonomous vehicles and drone-based surveillance into peacekeeping operations. This shift aims to reduce risks to personnel while improving response times in conflict zones. Trials are already underway in Africa and the Middle East, where drones are being used for reconnaissance, medical supply delivery, and civilian protection. One of the most significant trends emerging this month is the fusion of civilian technology with military applications. Commercial drone companies are now partnering with defense agencies to provide rapid innovation cycles. Similarly, advancements in AI, robotics, and quantum computing are being rapidly absorbed into military projects. The global defense technology market is projected to reach unprecedented levels by the end of 2026. Driven by the demand for automation and smart warfare systems. At the same time, public concerns about global militarization are rising. Protests have been reported in several European capitals, demanding diplomatic solutions over continued military buildup. Activists warn that the growing arms race could destabilize the global balance further and lead to unintended escalation. However, governments argue that modernization is necessary to maintain deterrence and protect national interests in an increasingly unpredictable world. As of today, the overall picture shows a planet steadily preparing for the next era of defense competition. From Europe's rearmament and Asia's maritime standoffs to America's cyber focus and the Middle East's drone escalation, every region is adapting to a world where technology defines strength. The old rules of warfare dominated by tanks and infantry are being replaced by networks, algorithms, and precision-guided machines. This transformation is both remarkable and concerning, depending on how humanity manages its newfound capabilities. In summary, the breaking military news of October 24, 2025, paints a picture of an evolving global order where no region remains untouched by the march of military innovation. The line between peace and conflict continues to blur, and global leaders face mounting pressure to balance deterrence with diplomacy. What happens next will depend not only on technology, but on the wisdom of those who wield it. Thank you for watching and staying informed with us today. If you found this update valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with more military developments from around the world. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next video.